Okay, welcome in everyone in the room with me and those of you watching on my socials afterwards. I'm Deniz. I'm a full-time digital marketer. I've been doing it for around 5 years now, 2 years full-time. And in that time, I've marketed multiple million and billion-dollar companies, including software companies like the ones on screen with me, which are paying me between 4 and multiple 5 figures to do digital marketing for them. So what I'm going to do in this presentation is basically break down exactly how to market AI SaaS. You can see the experience with the companies I've worked with, and not only that, I've also started my own software company, Verlo, which has grown to, well, over 75,000 signups in the first 12 months. And we eclipsed $100,000 revenue in the first 90 days through organic marketing. And what Verlo does in a nutshell is it's a short form data aggregator. It shows you exactly what is trending across TikTok, YouTube Shorts, Instagram, Meta ads, so you can apply it and utilize it for your own marketing efforts, whether you are an agency owner, an influencer, whether you are your own SaaS model and want to see exactly what is trending. And here's a little note by myself and my co-founder, Nick, who I met in person in August 2025 in New York. And we started Verlo in August 2024. So a year later, we finally managed to meet in person. So beginner's guide to AI SaaS in 2026. Now, I'll be honest, and you could be honest with me as well. Most presentations I go to, most masterminds are a little bit dull. They're a bit boring. The person's up there just yapping. Now, obviously, I have to be yapping about what I know, and I'm going to give you a lot of knowledge. So if you are in the SaaS space, if you're looking to market your own SaaS, market other people's SaaS, pay attention, take notes, it'll be really valuable. But I also want it to be interactive, right? So feel free to ask questions. Feel free to drop your thoughts to me after, and I'll be able to provide some insight to anyone that's interested. Anyone that's watching for the YouTube video is not in person with me, then drop comments down below and I'll be able to answer them where I'm able to in the comment section. Okay, so we'll be covering a few steps here. So number one, what is AI SaaS? In case anyone here is unaware what AI software as a service is, and importantly, why now? Next, we're going to talk about finding profitable SaaS ideas in 2026 and onwards, because the game is changing. Believe it or not, well, I say believe it or not, a lot of people do tend to believe it. With AI, it's such a fast moving space that the opportunities that worked in 2025 are not the ones that are necessarily going to work in 2026. Next, validating your ideas. So once you've got an idea, how do we check to make sure it's actually going to get you money and get sales? And then choosing your tech stack. So what we're going to be using for research, what we're going to be using for building the MVP, for marketing, distribution, etc. This is all proven on SaaS companies I've marketed with, and also my own SaaS company, Verlo. And then building your MVP in 72 hours. One of the biggest misconceptions is people think they need to spend days and hire developers and $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 or pay an agency to build your MVP. Not true whatsoever, especially with the way AI has grown and different self-coding models that are, to be honest, no-code, vibe code models. You can build your MVP in 72 hours by yourself. Maybe you need to be a little bit caffeinated, but that's about it really. And then pricing psychology and getting your first 100 customers, because these 2 points are so important for being able to differentiate yourself from other SaaS models, companies that don't have the same success. Okay, not just that, this exact framework I'm going to show you has been proven by startups all the way up to billion-dollar plus SaaS companies. Like I said, I've worked with over 60 million and billion-dollar software companies, and I've seen this process be used by all of them, all throughout, from the startups just getting going to the multi-billion-dollar, corporations. Okay, so let's start with what is AI SaaS and why now, why you should enter this space if you've thought about some kind of business model to make money online, or if you've got some experience and really want to enter the software game. So if we look at this graph right here next to me, so the CAGR is 38.6% for AI SaaS, right? If you think about it, for those who don't know, like a good CAGR rate is around 10 to 12%. Like that's pretty decent. This is 38.6%, 3 times what's considered a good CAGR to have. And by 2030, it's estimated to reach $673 billion, 2/3 of $1 trillion industry. And it is just growing and growing and growing, because it's one of those business models where when one company, obviously that's an AI SaaS, they need other AI SaaSes to support that AI SaaS. So it kind of like feeds itself. If you ever played that game, what's it called? Sliver.io? The one where the snake is going around the map. It's kind of like that. Like it eats other snakes to grow bigger. So other AI SaaS models need other AI SaaSes to grow bigger themselves. So they're all relying on each other. It's an interconnected space. So if you make something that is useful for either the B2B market or B2C market, you can find some real success. And then also, if we look at some of the companies that are growing fastest in the world right now, Higgsfield AI, who's reached out to me to do marketing for them on my socials, fastest ever company to reach $200 million run rate. And not fastest by a little bit, fastest by a country mile. That's almost double Lovable, right? And you can see Lovable, Cursor, OpenAI, Wiz, Deal, 11 Labs. 11 Labs have also worked with, as you saw on the first slide. All of these companies, well, the majority of them are software-based companies that utilize AI. So can you see the trend here? The AI companies that are software-based are the ones that are absolutely growing at an exponential rate. So this is a sort of industry you want to be a part of, right? Like follow the leader to a certain extent. So before 2022, building SaaS products required large research teams, massive data sets, and expensive infrastructure. So those of you wondering, like, okay, cool, makes sense. But why is this presentation in 2026 versus 2022, for example? Well, before 2022, before ChatGPT, OpenAI completely changed the whole AI landscape, it was not easy to build software companies. AI was not the stage yet where you could code for you. So you needed either to be able to code or needed to hire people that could code on your behalf, research the market. You can't just ask ChatGPT or other AI models like Gemini, Symphony, Perplexity to give you a landscape as to what is working, what the sentiment is on a certain industry. You have to do all of that manual research yourself. It's going to take time, it's going to take money, it's going to take effort. And to be honest, it's going to be something that's reserved for the people that have got the capital to be able to take the risk and take the swing on software. Now the game has completely changed. You see, you can have a whole team do the work on your behalf and they be AI agents. So you can be at the top, the CEO of the company, and then everyone is basically doing the work for you. You can hire an AI agent to do the research for you. You can do the coding as well with AI. It's basically like having a bunch of AI employees under you, which cost fractions, pennies of what an actual team would cost you, and does it far quicker with far fewer mistakes. So under $100 as a solo founder invested with 80% profit margins sounds like a pretty good industry to get involved in. Because I've seen this be the case where we've seen solo founders spend less than $100 to get their product off the ground and maintain an 80% profit margin, right? So we're going to be talking about two sides of the coin here because there's B2B and there's B2C. For those of you that don't know, B2B means you're targeting businesses. B2C means you're targeting consumers. So Go High Level, for example, is a B2B based software because you're targeting people that have their own businesses, whether they're an agency owner, a SaaS themselves, etc. B2C would be something like Cal.ai because it targets consumers, anyone that wants to lose weight, fitness journey, etc. Do you see the differentiation? Now, sometimes you have B2B2C, which I would classify Verlo kind of as to a certain extent, where you're in the intersection of the two. Sometimes B2B2C is something that is frowned upon. And I see both sides of the argument. Like, obviously, you want to have a clear understanding of who you target. But also, some of the better apps do use, like some of the better softwares and companies do B2B2C. Like Apple, for example, is B2C in the sense where everyone has their iPhone, but it's B2B as well in the sense where you have a Mac Mini, for example, or you have there certain softwares that companies would use, businesses would use, Apple Developer Program, for example, for businesses. So you can target both sides of the coin, but at the start, I'd recommend being very particular as to what target market you are going to go for. So common objections people have when they're starting the AI SaaS business model in 2026 is why do B2B business, like why target businesses when businesses can just vibe code it themselves? And you see all those like LinkedIn posts and X posts, like I canceled my $30 subscription to X software because I vibe coded it myself in a weekend. We don't understand is that sounds great on paper, but when you're a business, you want convenience above anything. You want something that's going to work. You want something that's dependable. If you're spending $20, $30 a month on a software that works for a business, that's worth it. That's absolutely worth it because the headache spending to try and replicate something you can use yourself, which is going to have faults, it's going to have maintenance, it's going to have someone doing it for you, the cost might exceed it. So yes, you might be able to vibe code it yourself, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's the right thing to do. So a lot of times it makes sense to use other companies that work well. Like at Verlo, we have multiple different software subscriptions. I myself as a founder as a digital marketer have multiple different software subscriptions as well. Not because we can't vibe code these things ourselves, it's because we'd rather use these because they work, they've got the infrastructure there already, and it's dependable. Next, it's too saturated. The most common objection, but this company's doing that, this company's doing it already. Here's the thing, right? Saturation is proof of concept. Now, I'm not saying you do exactly what has already been done before, because that makes no sense. They've got market share already. But what you can do is you can do spin-offs, enter what I like to call a purple ocean. So Calendly, for example, which I use, a massive scheduling tool where you can schedule basically a calendar with anyone for that set up online appointments. It stops you basically playing tennis across messages, which anyone here that does marketing or anyone that does an online business here knows how frustrating that is when you're trying to get a client on the call and they're just bouncing across emails with each other with like 1-2 day reply times. So what Calendly does is basically you just send them your Calendly. It has your availability already synced into the calendar and they can book in a call whenever it suits them. So perfect industry. Now I've seen companies that do what Calendly does, but it targets a specific market because Calendly is very broad. So you can make a Calendly for students. So for example, same concept, but we help students that want to collaborate on group projects and you want to find availability for everyone. You can do a Calendly for friends. So you want to link up, you want to go out and for a night out with your friends, but you don't have all the same availability, make a Calendly equivalent, but for your friends, you upload your available times and then the AI matches it to whenever everyone's available and sends out the invites automatically on everyone's behalf so everyone is happy. So can you see some of these ideas that come off the back of Calendly? Because yes, it may be a saturated space, but what you do is you target different markets. That's the easiest way to stand out in a saturated space. Primal Queen's another great example, right? Like Primal Queen is in the supplement space, which is one of the most saturated industries on this planet. But what they did is they targeted women because a lot of supplements target teenage men, boys getting into bodybuilding, etc. They went the opposite route. They targeted more females in the supplement game. Next, why would someone pay for it? Another common objection, that's usually coming from a scarcity mindset because you don't pay for softwares yourself. If you paid for softwares, if you paid for things, you would know that there's reasons for people to pay for it. If the pain point is big enough, especially from a business standpoint, they will pay for it. Cal.ai that sells the fitness tracking, the calorie tracking, right? It works because when someone stands on those scales and they see 95, 100 kilograms and they've gained 5 kilograms that month, they're like, I need to do something about this. The pain is big enough to want to buy something. So if you feel like someone wouldn't buy it, it's because the pain point isn't large enough or the outcome isn't big enough. Next, what if it's a bad idea? And obviously that's always a common problem people have and always a fear in the back of someone's mind. And that's why we're going to talk about validating ideas slightly later in this presentation. And then of course, all of these things right here, all of these 4 points, all they are is you in the back of your head basically not trying to leave your comfort zone. Because if you've not tried something like this before, you're in a comfort space right now. But to do something extraordinary, you got to do something that is quite literally extraordinary. You can't stay in your comfort zone. So all of these are natural things to think, absolutely natural. If you weren't saying that, I would actually be a little bit disappointed because that means you wouldn't be thinking for yourself or trying to understand exactly how this space is working. But the fact you are thinking these things means you're thinking critically about what could be the downsides for this. But I want you to understand that despite all of these, many, many companies have succeeded in this space, and there's no reason you won't be able to succeed also. So for example, Jack Fricks and Roman, who are both massive on X, I'd recommend following both of them. They've both done their own softwares. So Jack Fricks with Postbridge, which has just crossed about $25,000 USD, which is crazy monthly recurring revenue. And he's got like a 95%, 90% profit margin for this. So $20,000 per month profit for his software. Sounds pretty good. Doesn't have to do much fulfillment. The software does the fulfillment for him. Roman equally with Goji Berry just hit $1 million ARR. A few months ago, they were at zero. So $1 million ARR, over $80,000 monthly recurring revenue is incredible. And yeah, I'd follow both these people because on X, they give fantastic insight into their world of growing their SaaS's, lessons learned along the way. So this is just an example of how normal people like you watching on YouTube, for example, on my socials, can start out from absolutely nothing and have a lot of success with SaaS if you choose the right idea and execute. So I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not someone that sugarcoats stuff, right? It's not going to be easy. Now, I know so far I've said, Higgsfield reaching 200 million run rate, 11 labs, lovable, etc. Look at all these companies doing amazing things. It's not easy. I can tell you firsthand growing Verlo, but if you crack it, it will be worth it because software is the beautiful intersection of a business model where you have a lot of upfront work to have a software that does a lot of the work, does a lot of the fulfillment for you, does pretty much all the fulfillment for you. Plus it's got the beauty of an exit potential. So yes, it could cash flow you 20, 30K a month like it's doing for the two creators and potentially more that I showed you previously. But not only that, they can then sell this for potentially 7, 8 figures in the future and have a massive payout. A lot of agency owners, they have the great side of the cash flow, but the problem is they've got to do marketing all the time. They've got to make sure they're fulfilling all the time. They've got to hire people that can do fulfillment for them. Then there's not really much exit value. Same with influencers, with info, right? What's the exit value on info courses? Next to nothing. You just burn out your audience and then you're moving on to better things. Why do you think a lot of these info gurus move over to SaaS? There's a reason, right? You can cut out the info part and go straight to SaaS like I basically did. So finding profitable SaaS ideas. Let's move into this segment, right? An important chapter, because if we don't have profitable SaaS ideas, we aren't going anywhere, right? Like, it's all good me saying this is why you should get into SaaS, but without the idea, we can't move. We're stuck in neutral. So we're looking for pain plus repetition. This is the formula I like to go for. So pain in the sense of something that hurts. Doesn't have to hurt physically. I'm not talking about getting punched in the face, but has to hurt emotionally. Look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, for example, right? Like, if you don't have shelter as a human, if you don't have food, if you don't have water, that's a big problem. That's a big pain point. That's why I know restaurants have a high failure rate, but restaurants are necessary. Restaurants are never, ever, 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 ever in my lifetime going out of business. And probably not in my kids' lifetimes or grandchildren's lifetimes, because everyone at some point is going to need food. The deeper and more frequent the problem is, the easier it is to sell. The repetition comes from if it's the same every single day. Like I spoke about Cal.ai with the calorie tracking, right? If you stand on the scales and it says 95 kilos, you stand on the scales the day after, it says 97 kilos. Every single morning you stand on the scales, you're met with the truth that you're gaining weight, you're not losing weight. You're gaining fat around the tummy, etc. That is a repetitious pain you are facing over and over again, the more likely someone is to buy. Now that's the B2C options. Let's look at B2B. Like I mentioned before, with Calendly, you're always, every single client, you lose them because you can't get them on a call, because you burn out through the messages and you can't seem to find availability. You say, are you available at 3 p.m.? They say, yes, I could be, but is 2 p.m. better? You just go and tennis over messages and so many leads slip through the cracks. And each lead could be worth $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. For $29 a month, for how much I spend for Calendly, it's about 15 quid a month. So what's that, like $24? You solve that. You just send your Calendly link and someone books in, you get them on meetings. That is a pain, and that's a pain that happens repetitively. So for B2B side, the pain needs to be associated with financial loss or time loss, and it needs to be repetitive. Like every day, every week, it needs to be encompassing and being basically witnessing this pain firsthand for them to be likely to buy. So if we look at the pain and the frequency chart, right, like on like an X and Y axis, we obviously want to look at stuff that is high in both, because if it's high in both the pain and frequency, we're on to a winner, because that is a product or service. Well, as I say, soft product or service, that is a software that we can sell most easily because it's something that people are facing over and over again that they want to fix. Okay, so for example, from a B2C side, targeting people who hate their job. The reason this idea is good is because if you hate your job, it's a big pain point, because you go to work minimum 40 hours per week if you do a 9 to 5, or longer if you work longer shifts. So you do it every single day. It's a pain because it's tied to your financial gain, right? Like your job is what you need to make money online. And then if you go beyond that as well, it's something that people go to again and again and again. So if you can fix this problem for people that hate their job, maybe show them opportunities to get another job, use AI to where they can upload their resume and it automatically targets the best possible jobs for them, all the openings, it looks at LinkedIn, looks at Indeed, all these different softwares. That's a free AI startup idea for those of you that are watching on YouTube or in person with me, right? Like somewhere where someone can upload their resume and it automatically tracks LinkedIn, all these different websites, it scrapes them and shows you, okay, these are the opportunities you should apply for, and we've automatically applied on your behalf utilizing AI. So yeah, like I said, you go to work 40 hours per week, that's the repetition, and it's the root to their finances. That's the pain. If they're not making enough money through their job, that is painful. Next, targeting people who vape. Once again, vaping is something you do multiple times per day. I know some people that vape. I don't vape myself. I know some people that vape, right? Every day they're hitting the vape. They struggle to quit as well. That's the pain. It's something that once you're hooked on it, it's hard to get rid of. It's the nicotine. So this is a good potential B2C option as well. But next, we've got targeting businesses who struggle with marketing. So like I said, I'm a digital marketer. I help businesses with their marketing, software companies, non-software companies. I work with the whole suite, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11-figure brands. I work with over 60 of them. This is a big pain point, right? So marketing is always on. Like if you're not always marketing as a business, you've got a problem. You need to always be trying to get people in the door. And then bad marketing equals no or wrong customers. And that's a big pain point. Having no customers obviously is a problem. Then having wrong customers is an even bigger problem sometimes, because you're targeting the wrong person, the wrong people resonating with your message. And that can be really deflating when you see them churn instantly and you feel like you're not getting the sort of customers that need to use your product. Next, businesses who can't get booked calls, like I gave the Calendly example earlier. Tennis across messages happens every single time. You get a client, you can't seem to get them on a meeting, and then you're losing leads, you're losing money, you're losing sales, right? So all of these are potential pain points that are both repetition and pain. So any ideas you've got, and you can talk to me after about some ideas, and those of you that are watching through YouTube and want my help marketing your SaaS, getting it off the ground, you can click the link in the description and book in a call with me where we can discuss exactly how to market your SaaS. Like I said, I've worked with both startups and 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 figure brands. And I've started my own startup as well, Volo. So let's say I've gone through the whole journey for starting a software. So if you are someone that wants to get started with this, talk to me after if you're in the room. And if you're watching this through YouTube or other socials, link in the description to book in a call with me. So pick an industry, and the more niche, the better. I spoke before about how Calendly obviously is very broad for emails, but you've also got Calendly for students, Calendly for doctors, Calendly for PTs, etc. So pick a problem and then pick an industry. And the more niche you go, the easier it is to appeal to them. Biggest problem I hear people say is, oh, but what if I'm closing down my options, for example, which, don't get me wrong, is a good sort of objection to have. It's definitely an objection I had when starting out. But then I read this book, Alex Hormozy's $100 Million Offers. Hands up if you've read that book as well. Fantastic book, right? And this example, when I read it, really resonated with me. If you're selling time management, it's $19. If you sell time management for sales professionals, it's $99. If you sell time management for outbound B2B sales, $499. And if you sell time management for outbound B2B power tools and gardening sales reps, it's $1997. Why is that? Because if you are a power tools and gardening sales rep and you see this ad right here, that feels like it's made for you. I have a friend who runs a tutoring company, and he got on a call with me for about an hour long, and we were discussing how to do marketing because he wasn't getting enough clients. And I said, okay, let's talk through your marketing message. And he said, oh, okay, where we do tutoring for GCSEs, which those of you in the UK obviously know what GCSEs are. Those abroad, GCSEs is like what you do when you're about 15, 16 years old. 16 years old, I want to say, 15, 16. And then after that, you go into college, right? And the problem was his messaging was very broad. So I said, okay, let's change the messaging. Let's go how to go from a C grade to an A grade in maths in 90 days. That's going to be the messaging. Because I asked him, I said, out of all the subjects you do, what subjects perform the best? And he said maths. That's what performs best with our tutors. So I said, okay, let's simplify the offer for now. Let's take students that go from a C grade to an A grade in maths in 90 days, which is one semester, one term. Because then you're doing a more targeted message. If someone sees maths tutoring, it's too broad. But if they see their son, their daughter, if they themselves are in GCSEs and they're getting a C grade every single test, and they go, wow, I can go from a C grade to an A grade in maths in 90 days, all my money back, it's a grand slam offer, right? So that's obviously an agency offer, the tutoring company, but you've also can do this with a SaaS. Like, let's say, take your child from a C grade to an A grade in math in 90 days, and then through the software, you give them maths-based questions. It's AI, so when they interact, it gives them feedback on what they need to do differently. They have to log in every single day to keep up the streak, like Duolingo. Different sort of features. The features are less important. The outcome's the most important part. You reverse engineer from the outcome to build the features. You don't build the features first. So Dermis, for example, I met one of the co-founders of Dermis when I was out in Bali in July last year, so July 2025, right? And what Dermis does is it basically partners with beauticians, clinics, etc., to let them have an app. And so what they can do with their app is their customers can then get notifications when offers are available. They get voucher points, like if you go to, I don't know, like most restaurants, most cafes, like Cafe Nero, for example, which is in the UK, has a point system. So you can scan it and you get a loyalty point, and when you collect 10 points, you get a free coffee. They do this for basically beauticians, etc. Now, they could do this for everyone. They've got the infrastructure to do this for mechanics, for plumbers, for restaurants, but they zoned in on beauticians. Why? Because that is the niche market they want to go for. So if you are a beautician in this space, if you are a aesthetic clinic, you look at Dermis, and they've got massive market share and they've got very low churn, so fantastic business. Equally, high level, similar thing. So they're basically, this Dermis is a white label of Go High Level. So if you are starting a SaaS company, by the way, those of you that are here in person obviously can't use a link. I'll give it to you afterwards. Those of you watching for YouTube, Link down below, you can get started with Go High Level for 30 days for absolutely free. And I'll link down below 2 links. One will take you to this page where you get a 30-day free trial of normal Go High Level. Another page will give you a 14-day free trial of their SaaS Go High Level. The SaaS Go High Level basically means that you can create a SaaS on Go High Level and then white label it. It's fantastic. So yeah, 2 links down below for Go High Level. Check out both of them. I'm a partner of theirs. Like I said, I've marketed them. I've been paid to market Go High Level as well. So they trust me. They trust me to bring other people to the platform. That's why I've got this unique link that not a lot of other people in this space have. So take advantage of it. Get your free 30 days. Get your free 14 days if you want to start up your SaaS. It's perfect for getting going. Niching down is not closing down your opportunities. If I want you to remember at least one thing from this presentation, remember that. Niching down does not close down your opportunities. That does not make you someone that is not going to succeed. It does the opposite. It makes you appeal to a certain demographic. I've read a book, 0 to 1, and it spoke about this as well. It said what you should do is start small enough, long enough, so it can be big. Well, start small enough, long enough, so it can be big enough, right? So if you start with a niche business and it works really well, replicate it for other niche industries. So with Deniz, for example, they could just replicate that for mechanics, for restaurants, for cafes, etc. The business model works. If they wanted to, they could just replicate it across other business models as well. So deep and narrow will always beat wide and shallow. If we look at this analogy, right? Like you want to help one target industry with as many deep pain points as possible versus trying to hit everyone and giving shallow sort of problems and fixing them, like time management versus time management for students looking to get from C to an A grade in maths. Deep is better than shallow. So think about the problems you faced or do face, right? Let's think about the ideas we're going to be making. Where do you go for those problems? Well, my recommendation, if it's B2B, is you go for Reddit, X, school. These sort of things, right? They are perfect for finding problems in this space. Reddit, because the businesses love to post threads on Reddit, you'll see so many different problems. Like digital marketing thread, you'll see all these different digital marketing problems people have. Students thread, you'll see all these different problems students have. Look at threads where people are having issues. X as well, people love to talk about, drop threads on X, love to reply to tweets on X, post about what they're doing on X, etc. This is important because you want to be able to see exactly what's working and what isn't working. And school as well. So many people have different school communities. Alex Hormozy and Sam Ovens set it up so you could literally start your community. And if you join a lot of free school communities, people in there will be engaged. They want to learn something. They want to obviously get better in a certain way, see the problems they're facing. So DM people, start conversations on social media. Now, the point at the start for ideation is not to sell. That's the worst possible thing you can do. You'll literally turn people off you straight away. Not, would you buy this? Worst question. Just ask inquisitive questions like, hey, I see you're in the PT industry. Out of interest, like, how's it going for you? I'm looking to get started with it myself. Like, what's some problems you're facing? Not trying to sell whatsoever. The goal is not selling. You just want to ask questions, be inquisitive. What you're looking to do is you're doing market research. You're trying to find common pain points amongst people. Now, obviously, looking through threads is fantastic, but great is talking to people one-on-one, asking about their problems. If you feel like people aren't going to respond to you, offer an incentive, $10 gift card. Interview 10 people is $100, but you've got 10 valuable points of information from people inside your industry. And if you can sell to 10 people in your industry, you can sell to 1,000 or 10,000. So, for example, one of my co-founders at Verlo AI, who joined the Verlo team very, very early, only within like 2-3 months of us conceiving the idea, myself and Nick. Asif, follow him on X. I can't get my words out. Follow him on X, absolute GOAT, right? So he was doing X, well, obviously he's growing on X, and he was taking the time to connect with people, connect with founders, builders, etc. His tweets, 5 weeks ago I had 480 followers, today I'm at 3.4K. Target this month is 5K. I build weird AI tools and post everything in public. If you're building something too, drop it below, let people discover you. So these sort of tweets get people to discover them, get people to engage with their content, build a community of founders. This helps a lot because it's how you grow in the space. Like I showed before, the Roman guy, the Jack Friggs guy, other people in X as well do similar things to get other builders to engage with them. Their target market to engage exactly in what they're doing. So like I mentioned before, reverse engineer from the outcomes, not the features. What are we solving and how does our SaaS get to that solution? So when I partner with brands, and if you want to partner with me as well to grow your own software company, the first thing I'll do is, okay, let's establish a clear outcome people get, a clear outcome. Once we establish that outcome, how can we reverse engineer the features to get to that outcome? So not the biggest problem I see a lot of SaaS companies make, and if you've already started, you may have already made this mistake. That's why sometimes it's actually better to not start sometimes and then watch this sort of presentation so you now know where to start. They build a bunch of features, then they're trying to justify why the features help the outcome. They build X, Y, Z and go, okay, we built these features. Now we need to think, okay, how can these features help the customer receive the outcome? No, because then it's sunk cost fallacy. You're trying to justify something, confirmation bias, etc. You don't want that. Instead, think about the outcomes. How can we reverse engineer from the outcomes to build the features that gets the outcomes? Software as a service is about delivering a service. We think about the outcome first, then we think about the SaaS we're going to build. If it's great, competitors exist. That's proof of concept, right? Like very rarely going to find something that doesn't have competitors. Now I showed Verlo before. That is a blue ocean in the sense where we're aggregating short form data, but we're not the only data company. Verlo is a data company. That's very saturated. Palantir, one of the biggest companies on this planet, is a database company, right? Like look how many different companies are database. Google Trends, database company. You've got Bloomberg, data company. Verlo is data, but our moat is short form data. That's where we're different. So we're not a copycat of Bloomberg or any of these other companies, but we are a database company. So the proof of concept is there. How can we use their findings and differentiate? So if you've got other companies that have worked well in the industry, worked well in the space, what have they done well? What have they not done well? How can we basically learn from their mistakes and double down on what's already worked for them? So recommended reading is Blue Ocean Strategy. Fantastic book. It took me about 2.5 to 3 weeks to read. It is a bit dense. It's like a textbook, but I do recommend reading it because it tells you an awful lot about how to stand out in competitive industries and differentiate from the market. And it also talks about following the NESBA formula. So NESBA is what is what I got taught from a mentor who I paid £16,000 for 90 days of coaching. So yeah, a lot of money, around $23,000, right? And what they taught me was that NESBA is the framework of new, easy, safe, and big. So when you're marketing something, you want it to be new in the sense that people haven't heard about it before. So that's why this is a little trick of the trade. A lot of people, when it comes to not only their SaaS, but info-based products, they'll say this framework or mechanical trading, for example, right? Something along those lines, because it's something you haven't heard about before. It sounds new, like, I've not thought about that before, right? When the brain hears about something before, they immediately disregard it if it's not worked before. If they've not heard about it before, they're open to it. They're curious. I've not heard that before. It's different. It's a different flavor. Like when matcha came about. Matcha, I've not heard about matcha before. Let's try it. Easy. You want it to be easy to implement. Not, okay, pay us $49 a month. It's going to take you 5 days to set up. No, easy. 5 minutes to set up, ready to go. You'll see a lot of SaaS companies have that within their copy. Set up in just 5 minutes or your money back. Set up in just 10 minutes or your money back. Set up so easy your grandma could do it. iPhone, right? Steve Jobs, when he launched the iPhone, he said, we're going to make it so easy your grandma can set it up in 10 minutes, right? That is a fantastic, fantastic hook. Especially because also people love, for some reason, I don't know what it is, it's a human instinct, to want to listen well to the extremes. Like the North Face, Canada Goose, for example, these jacket companies, they will do ads of someone on the top of Mount Everest or in Antarctica, like built for an Antarctica. 99.99999% of people are not going to Antarctica. You do not need a jacket that is safe for people in Antarctica, right? You need a jacket that's safe in maybe minus 10 degrees at a push degrees Celsius, right? At a very, very big push. And even then, that's going to be rare. You don't need minus 50 degrees jacket, but they market that because people, they love overkill, right? So something like that is fantastic. Safe as well, because safe in the sense where you're going to get a result. So I gave the SaaS company for tutoring, for example, go from a C grade to an A grade in 90 days or get your money back. That's safe because if it doesn't work, you're going to get your money back. Safe also if you've got reputation. Like me, for example, I've marketed over 60, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11-figure brands in the software space, non-software space. So I've got reputation. I've done this before. I'm giving this presentation for absolutely free. That makes this safe because you're working with someone who's got experience in this space. I'm not a beginner. And then big. So not pay me $49 and I'll make you back $100 over the course of 90 days. I mean, yeah, cool. It's not massive though. Versus pay us $50 a month and we'll show you how you can make $4,000 next month, right? That's a much bigger outcome and you'd feel more than happy to spend $50 on that. Next, validating your ideas. Another big point. So once you've got an idea ready to go, how do we validate it? So common thing is they ask someone, so do you think this is a good idea? You're putting the person in an untenable situation because unless they're a truthful friend, like I'm a truthful friend, I don't sugarcoat stuff. I'll say if I think it's a bad idea or a good idea. From that instance, I'm a good friend. I'm not necessarily the nicest friend, but I'm a good friend. But others will just say, yeah, it's good, bro. Or yeah, absolutely. I love it. But they're not really being honest with themselves. So don't ask questions, do you think this is a good idea? Instead, ask different sorts of questions. Would you pay for this? Do you think this is a good idea? Bad questions to ask, especially for friends, because people will just say, yeah, I will, or no, I won't. It doesn't really get to the root cause of the problem. Instead, ask, how much is X costing you per month? And that can be costing you in terms of time or money. So with Calendly, they could ask, how much time are you spent chasing leads and getting them on a meeting? How many emails do you send on average? You're going to get a quantitative answer. Ask questions that give you quantitative responses like 5 hours, 10 days, 50 days, $5,000, etc. Or yes or no questions, where when I say yes or no is in the sense where it's like yes or no with an explanation. Like, do you think that you are struggling with this? Yes, because of X, Y, Z, right? Would you pay for Y if it does this? So would you pay $40 a month if you could use a software that tells you exactly how well your Meta ads are performing and gives you more insights from Meta's ad library, where you can see exactly how much spend is being placed in each ad and the ROAS they're getting, right? Would you spend X if you got the outcome? Because then when you say, oh, by the way, my software does that for $30, they're kind of like in an untenable position where they're like, I pay $40 for that and this does it for $30, I kind of have to buy, versus would you just buy this? Next, do you believe this is severely affecting your business? So do you believe not being able to get enough leads is severely affecting your business? Do you believe not being able to, what else we got? Not being able to see data on short form content is severely affecting your marketing flow. The reason I like to use severely affecting is because it makes someone think. If you say affecting, you can say, yeah, affecting. It affects me, of course. But it doesn't have to be a deep pain point. But severely affecting is a deep pain point. Like I mentioned before, deeper pain points are what we need to sell. The deeper the pain point, the easier it is to sell someone. Nothing good comes for free. Another big point. My dad taught me this, right? Nothing good comes for free. Free users give terrible advice, horrendous advice, right? Like if you've ever got something for free, you don't value it, because whenever anything is free, automatically humans do not value something. So don't give away free stuff, right? I see so many founders like, I'm going to give it away free. What you can do is a free trial. That's okay. A free trial is fine. Someone puts in their credit card and after 7 days, 14 days, 30 days, etc., they go on to pay. Like Go High Level, for example, does a free trial because they're confident in their services. But just giving away something for free, that's not valuable. That's not how you're going to get people that give you good advice, because anyone can give free advice. If they're not paid for it, they can give any advice they want. We've had loads of people on Volo try and give us advice where they're free users. The best advice comes from paid users, right? So we are happy to build this feature. We'd like a deposit from you, totally refundable, committed to 3 months once this feature is in. Ask that question to any of the free users. I guarantee every single one of them will say no. So if they're a free user, or they say they're not even, they won't pay for it, and they say, oh, but I'm not paying for it because I want this feature in there. Say, okay, cool. We'll build this feature for you. It'll take us about 2 to 4 weeks to get it in. Once it's in, and we will build it, we want a deposit from you right now for it. And then once it's in, if you like it, we want 3 months commitment to using it. Yeah? How's that sound? A deposit, refundable deposit, you can say. So I want $1,000 from you as a refundable deposit. You can get it back. That's going to help us use this to build the feature for you. Then once it's in and it's ready to go, we'd love to hear your thoughts on it. We'll give you 3 months access. If they say no, they're not interested, right? It doesn't have to be those specific numbers, but the point is this: you can build them exactly what they want, bespoke for them. Until they put money in your pocket, it doesn't matter. It's just air, it's just noise. Paid users, on the other hand, give valuable feedback because it comes from the point before. If they're paid for something, they've got a pain point and it's repetitous, so they actually want to solve that problem. So with the problems they've got, they want you to solve it. They trust you enough to give you money, so they're going to give you valuable feedback to help you get to them solution. Because once again, like I mentioned, paid users think from an outcome standpoint. They're not thinking about what feature to use, they're thinking about what outcomes to get. So they will help you with the outcomes to solve, and then your job is to build the features that are the vehicle to that outcome. So what you can do is you can do pre-launch. So before you're launching your software, you can do waitlists or deposits. So where someone puts their name on the email address or waitlist. I don't love this one because it is very low friction, but you do get a lot of people. Deposits is better because that means people are more likely to actually buy the product. So great recent example, that robot that you guys must have seen it. I forgot the name of it. the home robot that goes around, does all the chores and everything, right? They have not even finished the robot yet, but they dropped a teaser, 2-minute, 3-minute long YouTube video, or I think it was around 8 minutes, and a 2-minute long X video, socials, charging people, whatever it was, like $500 a month or $12,000 outright for the robot. They were getting sales, they were getting deposits, they were getting people spending money on the robot, even though it would not be ready for another 12 to 24 months. That is what we talk about a pre-launch strategy, right? Cash flow in the door, ready to build the features. The robot weren't even ready. It was the most MVP ever. I saw it. Like, there was a human actually using the robot. The robot was not autonomous whatsoever. But they dropped the video, they got interest, they got deposits. They didn't say, join our wait list. They said, pay us right now, either monthly or yearly, or lifetime. Give us the cash. With that cash, we'll build a better product for you. There was enough interest. They got the proof of concept. They were ready to go. Launch early bird offers. So if you do want to get people incentivized, you're not getting sales, early bird offers, I would say is something you can do, but maximum 60% off. Maximum. We didn't do early bird offers at Verlo when we launched it. We went off the standpoint that we built a great software, even though at the time it was not fantastic. To be honest, if I look back at our MVP, it was very bare bones, but we'll talk about MVPs and all that. But what we did do is say, hey, we built a product, buy it, and our early users gave us some great feedback. And then gather feedback over profits. The first start of a SaaS, the first 90 days, 180 days, is not about how much money you make. If you're trying to become a millionaire in 90 days, I know I showed you the example earlier of Roman who built Goji Berry, and scaled them from $0 to $1 million ARR in the first few months. That is a unicorn example, right? The real thing is we want feedback over profits. We don't care about how much money you make at the first 90 days. I'd rather you make I'd rather you make $1,000 in the first 90 days, but you have 20 really engaged users that are going to give you feedback every single day that love the product and want it to get better, versus you making $5,000 and everyone just doesn't care whatsoever. They don't give you any feedback, because that feedback you get from the first 10, 20 people will take you to your first 10,000, 20,000 users. Build for an ICP and refine to them. So an ICP is an ideal customer profile. I spoke before about how you want to target niches. The more niche you go, the better. Well, build for that particular ICP, that particular niche, and then refine around that niche going forward. And then choosing your tech stack. So these are different software companies and different things you can use to help you when building and marketing your software company. So we've got so many different companies on screen here, right? And it's all part of the SaaS life cycle, or the business life cycle. Build, measure, learn. Those of you that have read the Lean Startup, right? And you want to use different sorts of softwares for different uses. So for coding, I recommend Claude Code. You can also use anything AI, Rourke, Cursor. All of these will vibe code for you. It's like asking ChatGPT to do the coding. Build me this feature, hook up this, do this for me, like typing, right? As long as you have a director's brain on, like a Steven Spielberg brain, Quentin Tarantino brain, you can get the AI to code for you. For CRM, go high level. I mentioned it before. Free trial, link down below in the description and in the pinned comment. Like Dermis, they white labeled Go High Level. You can white label Go High Level as well. It enables you to have customer relationship. You can build your website on there as well. You can do the marketing, automate posts from there. Go High Level does all of the SaaS related things. So you can see on my Go High Level for my software company, for my digital marketing company, Sancar Media Limited, in the top left corner, on the marketing tab, you can just connect all your socials and it will automatically schedule out content. So you can say, I want to post on Instagram at this time, TikTok at this time, YouTube at this time, LinkedIn at this time. Helps you for marketing rather than having to log in every single time manually. You also get automations there, sites, memberships, whatever you need. You have your contacts, your calendars synced up. You can collect invoices as well where it says payments. Everything is done for you with Go High Level. I run it for my digital marketing business and loads of SaaS companies run it as well. So the different options, you've got Starter, Unlimited, SaaS Pro. So I'm on the Unlimited plan because I just do my digital marketing through Go High Level. But if you are doing SaaS, like it says SaaS Pro, the $497 per month is a good plan to go for. You get SaaS mode, so auto sub account creation. So when someone signs up to your SaaS, it creates an account for them and just tacks it onto your automatic Go High Level subscription cost, because when it starts, you only get free, on the starter kit, you only get free users beyond you, 3 different like white labels. With SaaS Pro, you get unlimited, right? So here's some more features in depth. Like I said, link down below. You get 14-day free trial when you sign up to the SaaS Pro subscription. $497 a month does pretty much everything for you. Then for marketing, don't want to be biased. Utilize Verlo. So I'm going to give you a code because you stayed this long well, you haven't got up and left this presentation. That's important. And those of you on YouTube, if you stayed this long, congratulations as well. Use code DS10 for 10% off. And it tracks organic and paid marketing assets, and you can repurpose them using Claude AI, Gemini, Google Nano Banana Pro, Sora 2, VO 3.1, 11 Labs, all built into the software. So your full marketing workflow done for you. Stop guessing what works in short form. Start tracking it. That's our label for a reason. For outbound, Apollo. I love using Apollo. I'm in touch with Apollo as well to work with them. They enable you to basically find engaged leads, and you can send out emails to them. So send out 50 cold emails per day. What's the worst that happens? I've got leads through Apollo, sending out cold emails. We've started setting it up for Volo as well. So yeah, you can narrow down your list. You can send out appointments to them, and you can start tracking who is engaging with you and who isn't, right? Cold emails, something you can do for practically free. Apollo costs, it's free to start, and then $59 per month on its lowest plan. $59 per month, right? And I'll link down Apollo as well, so you can check it out. And then for teams, Slack. So if you're doing this by yourself, you don't need Slack, but obviously for all my teams, I use Slack. Can also set up a shared Slack with clients as well, which we do at Volo. And then for distribution, X and LinkedIn prioritize them too for B2B, and Reddit as well, I'd say is really good, underrated one. And then TikTok and Instagram for B2C. So a consumer app, a consumer software, TikTok and IG. For B2B, you're targeting other businesses. X, LinkedIn, Reddit is really cool. YouTube for both and Reddit for both. Underrated marketing tools. And then for payments, Stripe, or if you want to be a bit more rogue, you can go for Warp, although we personally go for Stripe. So the full tech stack, Claude Code will cost you between $20 and $200 a month, depending on what plan you go for, how much you want to code. Go high level, between $97 per month to $497 per month, depending on if you want to just get the starter kit or the full SaaS model, which I do recommend the SaaS Pro, especially if you want to white label it, because Dermis, which you should check out, which is really good AI company, AI SaaS. They white label Go high level, and each of their clients, they charge $665 per month, $665. So one sale per month, and they've paid back the $497 for one sale. And their churn is practically zero because of what they offer. Volo, between $49 and $199. You can start on the starter plan for $49. Apollo starts for free, goes up to $59 on their starter plan, and it scales up from there. Slack is $10, and then distribution, posting is absolutely free. And you can use Go high level to schedule your posts as well. So you're looking at minimum $100 per month for the absolute bare necessity tools, up to $950 per month. So even at under $1,000 per month, you've got everything you need for a software. Under $1,000 per month, right? And you can easily get to 10, 20, even potentially 50, 100K MRR with this stack beside me, because founders have done it. I've seen it with my own eyes. I've seen them on X as well. So building an MVP in 72 hours. How can we get a ready to go product? So minimum viable products don't work like this. If you're building a car, it's not a wheel, then you add the other wheel, then you add the chassis, etc. Then you get to the car. It doesn't work like that. Instead, it works like skateboard to a little scooter, to a bike, to a motorbike, to a car. Minimum viable product, right? Like you start with the basics, the bare bones basic. I was with my dad in the car the other day driving, and we were speaking about TomTom and how when TomTom started, I was very young when TomTom came out, but I do remember it. My dad was saying it was the most garbage piece of technology ever, but it was mind-blowing at the time. It was no roads, nothing. It was just literally just arrows. Arrow, turn right, go straight, turn left. That was TomTom, right? The most basic MVP ever, but it worked. And it got a proof of concept. And that led on to building the proper TomTom. And then now they're probably out of business. They probably sold their data to Apple, Google Maps, etc. Sold the whole process, because now everyone uses Apple, Waze, Google Maps. No one uses TomToms anymore. Your MVP is not perfection, but it's good enough for use and feedback. I would start by focusing on one feature that gets you to the outcome. So you have the outcome in mind, taking students from a C to an A grade in 90 days. The one feature we're going to do is AI feedback, like an interactive ChatGPT for learning, right? Modeled off all the answers. So you've built in the curriculum. So you've got the A-level curriculums, the GCSE curriculums. You've uploaded all of the data necessary from Pearson, edXL, AQA, OCR, all the different I'm using the UK examples of exam boards. You've uploaded all of that information to this AI model, every single thing. Uploaded every single past paper, every single paper that exists, everything you've uploaded into that model, so that the AI model is trained on all of that information. Then it's meant to be like a one-on-one tutor. So it gives you random questions. You respond. You can either do it on your iPad directly or on your phone or on some paper. You scan it, upload it, and it'll give you direct feedback. So it's like having one-on-one tutoring lessons with AI. A one-on-one tutor may cost you $25, $30, right? You get unlimited one-on-one tutoring opportunities for $49 a month. Who wouldn't do that, right? So this is the sort of things you can do. One feature, but it leads you to an outcome. Friction needs to be low. Very important when someone signs up, right? That's why a lot of companies have sign up with Google, sign up with X, sign up with Apple, sign up with Facebook. There used to be a lot. One click to sign up, not creating a new account, a new email address, a new avatar, new password, new this, X, Y, Z. Sign up quickly. Ease of use needs to be high. So friction low, not hard to get going with something, easy to use. Another big thing with friction a lot of times is a lot of companies, not just software companies, I've worked with all sorts of businesses, right? They try and change people's habits. Like, okay, you're drinking coffee all the time. Now let's drink this. Yeah, fantastic. Or you're drinking coffee all the time. Now let's do something completely different. That doesn't work. You want to keep the habit the same. So instead of drinking coffee, drink chai, drink tea. You're still drinking, but you're just changing what you drink. That's far easier. Don't drink coffee, drink matcha. Far easier to do than don't drink coffee, go for a run. Or don't drink coffee, go for a nap. Don't drink coffee, go and play basketball, etc. That's different habits. You have to keep the habit as similar as possible. There's a book I read called Atomic Habits, which talks about all of this, right? Your environment, your habits that lead on to other habits, very important. Keep that exactly the same. When marketing, market to your customers' interests, what they do on a day-to-day basis, and weave your product or service into their habits. So don't book an online tutor, use a tutoring software. Same sort of thing you're doing. The habit is still the same, getting tutoring. You still do it for around an hour, but you change the vehicle. Tight feedback loop. Get as much feedback as possible. Encourage it. Give discounts. Give gift rewards, whatever. Cashback, whatever it may be. Get feedback as much as possible. Outcome focus. So you want quantitative outcomes, right? When you're selling to someone. Not you save hours per week. Save 5 hours per week. Save 10 hours per week. Save $10,000 per month. Gain $10,000 per month. Quantitative outcomes. Right, the 72-hour plan is what we're going to do. So right now, I want you to ideate and validate ideas. If you're here with me, we can discuss them, we can talk about it. If you're watching through YouTube, you can obviously think about it yourself, ideate, validate ideas. Day 2, build the MVP with Claude and /or go high level, whichever option you want to go for. And then day 3, launch and aggressively market and stick to it. So many people start, they go, it's not working. How long have you been doing it for? 48 hours. Right, so you haven't got your first sale in 2 days and you're ready to give up, right? Like, be aggressive with this and stick to it for at least 90 days. I have a 90-day rule. 90 days you do something. If you can't commit to it for 90 days, don't even bother doing it. Pricing psychology. So I've got this funny meme template next to me, right? How much do you charge for a logo? Hi, my budget's only $800. Logo design price is $350. The person was about to type. Obviously, they've got to cancel that now because the budget is $800, right? This is you not realizing how pricing psychology works. Your price shows your value. So beside me, I've got a OF creator. Now, I literally just typed in OnlyFans girl. So this is the first image that came up, right? Now, I don't like the OnlyFans industry. I don't pay for it, don't utilize it, etc. But what do you see a lot of people say about the OnlyFans industry? This is how much people charge to show their private parts. So you're going to show your private parts for $20 a month or $10 per month. That's how much you value your private parts. Is basically what the OnlyFans industry is. How much are you willing to pay to give away your basically what's sacred to you and your partner, etc. Similar sort of thing with your SaaS. So when it comes to your SaaS, right, what you price it as is indicative of how much you value what you sell. If you price it at $4 a month, do you value everything you provide for $4? Let's be serious right now. Like, do you value your knowledge at $4? Do you value your service at $4? Right? So be very important. So it's very important to get that pricing psychology right. Also, higher price, lower churn. People think if I'm spending more money, people are going to leave quickly. No, it's the opposite a lot of times, because when you sell to a higher price, you're actually targeting a more established audience. And also, the higher the price, the higher the pain point. If someone's more willing to pay, it means their pain point is larger. If they're more willing to pay $197 versus $20, it's because they've got a larger pain point. They're less likely to churn. They're more likely to invest in the project to see it succeed, right? They've got more skin in the game. So I would always recommend go as high as possible, but don't be a scam, but go as high as possible whilst people still feel like it's justifiable decision. Higher price, better feedback. Like I mentioned before, if someone's willing to spend $497 per month for something, they want to succeed because it's a clear pain point. And then also higher price, more cash flow. I gave the example of the robots, right? That's selling the house cleaning robots that are not even ready yet. Whatever it was, like $12,000, I want to say, around that price point. A lot of money per robot sold. If they sell even 100 robots, what's that? $12,000, $120,000, 1.2 million, right? That is a potential. And that's cash flow ready to build the robots and refine them. And a higher price equals a better product. Even subconsciously, even if your product is exactly the same, run this experiment. I promise you. Ask two of your friends or three of your friends, yeah, to use two different softwares, right? Or the same software. Ask two different friends, right? One of them, you're going to tell them the price is $10. Other one, you're going to tell them the price is $200, right? For both of them. See which one they think is better. Don't ask them to judge based, like, don't say which one's better value for money. Just say which is the better software, right? They're going to say the $200 one is better because in their mind, anchoring, they feel like it's more valuable. So look, entrepreneurs, I'd rather you sell high and justify it. This goes to all my feedback and for the people I mentor, right? Whether you're doing a software, whether you're doing an agency. If you had to charge $5,000 a month, what would you offer to charge $5,000 a month? This is for the agency owners. For the SaaS entrepreneurs, if your highest plan was $97 a month, what would you sell to make it $97 a month worthy? What would you sell? What would you provide in that? What outcome would you solve? What would make someone feel they have to spend $97 per month with you? You don't have the funding and teams to build scale en masse. So you build fast, you build for it to be expensive, and use a top-down approach. When I say top-down approach, I mean you sell to the most expensive first, and then you trickle down. When Elon Musk brought out the Tesla, the first ones, the Roadsters, they were like $200,000 for a car, for the first ever Teslas. Proof of concept, gives us the cash flow, gives us money, gives us R&D, etc. Then nowadays you can get a Tesla for like 30 grand, 40 grand, I want to say, that the Model 3s are cheaper. So this is the point. You start at the top, you work your way down. B2B is better than B2C in the sense where you can read Blue Ocean Strategy and it will showcase how you can differentiate from the crowd and the pricing. And with B2B, people are more likely to want an outcome because it's businesses that have bigger pain points normally than consumers because they're financially incentivized to make more money. Otherwise, their business can go out of business. And then common horrible pricing mistakes people make. One of the first few things I fix when I help a SaaS company, right? Number one, look at this right here. What do you notice about this? 19, 29, 49. Yeah? All the same prices, practically. That for me is one price, 19, 29, and 49. Because if you can pay $19 for something, you can usually pay 49 or 29, usually. So someone sitting there is confused. Which one do I buy? The owner thinks they're smart. They're trying to do like this, the middle anchoring, right? Goldilocks method, where 19 is too cheap, 49 is too expensive. Let's go for 29. Doesn't work like that, man. Because pricing is not for features, it's for people. Okay? This is a mentality shift. And it took me a while to learn this. When you price something at 19, 29, and 49, you're selling to the same person. Your pricing model is there to target different personas, different budgets, different outcomes, right? If someone's poor versus if someone is very rich. So instead, look at school, Alex Hormozy, $9 and $99. Clear differentiation. You got the beginner model, the hobby model, and the pro model. That's it, right? You know, if you're someone starting out, I'll go for $9, no question asked. If I'm someone established and wants to make more money with the cheaper transaction fees and the more features, I'm going for $99. Simple. So what's better pricing models? $19, $99, and $4.99. Much easier. Beginners, $19, that's it. Can't spend any more money. $20 is all I can give. That's all I'm going for. $99 for the middle people. They go, you know what? Can't quite spend $500 yet, but I want to get more than $19. I'm more willing to spend. And then $4.99, the big daddy approach. $500 a month. You get all the features, most likely chance of receiving the outcome, etc. 4 to 10x markup between your prices because you're targeting different personas, not different features. Your prices are not about the features you provide. It's about the outcomes you solve and the personas you target. Because rich people don't want to spend $19 anyway. They'd rather spend this and get the outcome pretty much guaranteed. So getting your first 100 customers. We've got Ty Lopez over there. Who's seen that advert? The Me in My Garage advert, right? Revolutionary for the online space. So shout out about your product from the rooftops. Build a good product where you feel compelled to talk about it. If you, like the example I give actually, let me give you a good example. Religious preachers. Do you think they get tired about preaching about religion? Whether it's Islam, Christianity, Judaism, Hinduism, etc., whatever religion, right? Do you think they get tired about it? No, because they believe that's the truth. That is the truth. And I'm compelled to tell everyone about my religion because it is the truth, right? If you believe in your product and you believe it can help the target market achieve X outcome for cheaper, and you give them that as a pretty much almost guarantee you're confident in your services, shout about it from the rooftops because you are changing people's lives using your product. Apple, revolutionary. I've got a MacBook, I've got an iPhone, right? I'm using an Apple mouse to even change the slides, right? Apple. Change. I would not be doing online business without Apple because I could not, for the life of me, work out Microsoft and Samsung, right? So shout about your product from the rooftops. Next, marketing. Once you've got an MVP, market it as much as possible. Get feedback. Understand exactly what is working. And then partner with a marketing expert. If you can't do that yourself, hint, I'm available. I market SaaS companies, etc. Been doing it for a long time. But yeah, shameless plug over. Trend jacking, a good marketing model that I like to operate with. So trend jacking is a marketing tactic where brands or creators quickly jump on a popular viral trend like a meme, challenge, or hashtag to boost their visibility, engagement, and relevance by adding their unique spin or commentary. This was a definition that Google gave me, right? What I mean by this is stealing virality. And it's something that I've done multiple times for different software companies I've worked with and my own software company, Verlo. So when your brand is pre-product market fit, meaning the market doesn't really see your product as the viable solution yet, you have a little brand awareness, you have a weak marketing strategy, you have little to no virality, and you have no game plan. Now, I'm saying all this and it sounds like a dagger in your heart. I don't mean it like that. I'm just saying the cold, hard truth as it is. Like I said, I don't sugarcoat anything. It's also a lottery whether you go viral or not. Basically, like you have no game plan that works. You're just kind of guessing. So the best thing you can do is ride viral waves. When I look at Verlo, for example, on our third ever month, we launched in March 2025, right? So a year ago now from me recording this Mastermind. In June, we made over $50,000 in our third ever month live, proper month, start of June. Why was this the case? Because we rode the VO3 trend. VO3 just came out and we literally rode that trend on Verlo. You can see the peak right here. You can see in the Verlo, our Slack channel, VO3 just dropped. And I said, I've been at work last 4 hours scripting and making this video from scratch and I'm at the editing stage. If this is a banger me and you have combined for generational Verlo play, VO3 is trending right now. This is me sending those messages on the 7th of June, 2025. As VO3 dropped, I was like, this is a big opportunity. We need to jump on this. We need to steal the virality of VO3 and apply it to Verlo. We need to take that massive pie of virality and take a slice from it and apply it to our software. So I did exactly that. And I dropped the video and 7th of June, 4:56 p.m. It took me all day, the whole 9 to 5 hours you could think of it. Woke up at 9 a.m., spent the whole day scripting, ideation, research, scripting, recording, editing. I did all the editing and the thumbnail, everything myself because I did not have time for my editor to do any of it because I understood how important this was. 116,000 views generated me almost £1,000, 1.5K dollars in Google AdSense, over 1,000 subscribers, over 4,000 watch hours. Anyone that's in tune with the YouTube Partner Program will know that this video alone would have monetized my channel. Got over 4,000 watch hours, over 1,000 subscribers. So it did that alone, but that's not the important part. Not me making £1,000 from the video. That doesn't matter to me. What it did do is it generated me over $31,000 in revenue for Verlo. That video, practically. $31,000 in revenue for my SaaS, right? That is the potential that marketing does. And hopping on viral trends. The day before, we were not making $31,000. Day after, I made $31,000 and it caused a ripple effect because other creators were doing similar videos about VO3, utilizing Verlo for their prompting, and they were getting results as well. And that's what enabled us to make over $50,000 that month. So market research, utilize Verlo for it. Notice VO3 was trending. What is a solution? How can we integrate our SaaS into that? We create the workflow and then we market the virality. Those are the key steps to be able to use trend jacking to get sales. So the first 100 customers can take you to $100,000 ARR, recurring revenue, right? That's about $8,000 a month. With the right pricing model, you can do that. But more importantly, they give you the feedback and the confidence to get to $1 million ARR, $83,000 plus per month recurring revenue, right? Those first 100 customers is not about the money they give you. It's about the feedback they give you, the trust they give you, the confidence they give you. Any questions? Now I'll open the floor to any questions you guys have. And anyone watching on YouTube, leave some questions in the comments. And of course, you can always talk to me after as well for any questions. And those of you on YouTube, if you want to talk to me about marketing your SaaS, marketing, general digital marketing, like I said, I've got experience in this. Link in the description. You can book in a call with myself. You can see my calendar would be right there and available, ready to go. Okay, that brings an end to this presentation. Any questions, do let me know afterwards. YouTube guys, I'm going to cut it right here to enable the people in watching with me to give me any questions. You can leave your questions in the comments down below and book in a call with myself. Check out Volo as well. It's my own software. You can utilize it for your marketing efforts, whether you are an agency owner, into SaaS, etc. Heavily recommend it. Appreciate everyone tuning in and I hope you enjoyed this masterclass and learned an awful lot about AI SaaS and marketing. And if you're watching across socials, subscribe down below so you don't miss any future videos from myself. Take care.